Ernesto Mandowsky, welcome to Reefside Radio. We're glad to have you on the show here. As always, we're joined by my partner, Erick Gavin. Erick, how are things?
Pretty good, man. Pretty good. I like this ambiance that we have set, man. It's nice.
Mode.
It's nice.
Dark mode in the studio.
All the time. Exactly. All day.
I
all
love
day,
that.
man.
That's good. I didn't get the memo on the black.
You gotta read your emails, man.
Yeah, I know.
You have to read your emails.
You know, Ernesto one time showed up to a workshop we did, and you were decked out, and I think all black with orange accents. And you gave me a lecture on how your brand has to permeate
Pop in
through
somewhere.
It's your everything. So we're glad to have you on the show. We've known each other for a long time in the Miami tech ecosystem and business and community ecosystem. So how are you? How are things going?
I'm great. Very good. My son slept 12 hours last night. So that means I slept not 12 hours, but a lot more than the average.
Good. That's awesome.
And so
That's awesome.
It's a good morning. It's a good day.
That's great. That's great. Well, I wanted to kick off the show by having you share a little bit about your background. Like I mentioned, we've known each other for a long time, and you've been building your company ever since I've known you, really. And you've also been really an active member of the Miami tech and business community. And I think what broadly sums it up for me was like a community-centric entrepreneur. It seems like everything you do in your business and even socially and for fun, it all has this strong community aspect. So where did that come from?
Well, about 18 years ago, I threw a party here in Miami. I'm from Miami.
Nice.
At the Hard Rock before it had this massive guitar.
Yeah.
I rented out one of their nightclubs and created a community for 2,000 people.
Okay.
Community of 2,000 graduating seniors. And I made
At the Hard Rock.
At the Hard Rock. And I made $30,000 in one night.
Wow.
And I said, I want this for the rest of my life. I want this energy. I want bringing people together. And so when I told my parents I want to open up restaurants, they said, are you absolutely out of your mind? And I said, I don't know, but I want to do it. Yeah. And to please their needs, I studied engineering. I went to University of Florida, went to New York, got my big corporate job.
In New York, downtown, you were in it?
I was in it. Manhattan. Well, actually, I wasn't even in it because they flew me out to Delaware every week.
Why Delaware?
That was the client. I was in Delaware, and but I still had that dream of hospitality. And nights and weekends outside of consulting, I would help the consulting groups at Deloitte for hospitality. And so after a year into it, I actually got a gig back here in Miami with Carnival Cruise Lines.
Oh,
nice.
really?
And so I kind of got into a step closer to this vision of hospitality. It wasn't exactly restaurants. And about 2 years into the experience at Deloitte, things happened and I decided to leave because an opportunity in restaurants came up.
The dream.
It was the dream. It was another step closer to the dream. And my parents, again, are you out of your mind? And it's like, Mom, I have a salary. It's $70,000. And they're like, okay, fine. And basically for the next 10 years after that, I kind of pursued different jobs and opportunities in hospitality and tech until COVID, where I would finally say it's time to start my own company. And I did so.
Nice. Amazing. What is that company? Let's give it the... give it the ground.
So it wasn't the name that it is today, but the premise is that entrepreneurs are in a million places when they're building companies. They're wearing all the hats. They're attending all the events, doing all the things, and they typically don't have a partner who's actually helping them with the systems, with the process, with the structure. The entrepreneur is just such a wild, creative visionary that most the stats say likely burn out in the first 5 years.
Yeah.
And so I kind of bring my background in technology and systems engineering and in hospitality and creating luxurious, warm environments where the management of change isn't so overwhelming, where it's actually like going to a fine dining restaurant where the waiter is taking care of you, where you have someone who's handling your zaps and your relays and your workflows and all the data that no founder, no matter what they tell you, unless they are a tech founder, wants to handle.
I love it. And so is everything in your mind like, restaurants are chaotic places. So in your mind, was it all like a Zapier workflow or like a whimsical workflow? Or did you always think that way?
And dude, you went from throwing a party to restaurants. They're not the same thing.
I missed the line. So I missed a step. So growing up, my family were from around the world. Have aunts in Switzerland, Venezuela, Peru, Argentina, family everywhere. Yeah. And growing up, we'd always come to Miami. We were living in Miami, and we would always join in Miami. And I remember in my childhood, every week, Jewish people do Shabbat dinners, but people typically come together around the dinner table. And so it was always like this party in the home and bringing people together and food. And around the time that I threw the party, one of our guests that evening was a guy who owned restaurants.
Okay.
And so I was like, oh, what do you do? He's like, oh, I own restaurants. I'm like, oh, what does that mean? He's like, well, we kind of do this. And I'm like, oh, okay. Connecting the dots.
Yeah.
And so that's how that kind of came together.
Got you.
It's interesting thinking of your company as like hosting, right? Whether it's a dinner party or an event or anything, like there's elements, when you're at a bad hosted party, it's very obvious.
Yeah.
And in a sense,
experience isn't the same.
Yeah. In a sense with like a business, like if you're you go to some random business, you can tell when that ethos of like hosting and hospitality isn't there as well. And it feels weird.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Well, like a bad party, it's like, okay, we'll have booze and paper plates and cups and balloons. Build it and they will come. And it's like, not exactly. We'll get into this in a moment. Like we now host these monthly breakfasts, and it's very intentional. There's a section there, there's a starting point, an end point, the details. Every aspect has an intention behind it. And so if you think about your business, most founders, most startup companies, like you look at your Google Drive, and it's just like fucking chaos. I mean, it's just a mess.
Don't bring up the Google Drive.
I'm
thinking about our Google Drive right now.
I'll bring the Gordon Ramsay energy. I will tell you that your shit's on fire. But if you say, hey, the top level of the Google Drive, each team, then there's the subfolders, everything is very intentional, very organized. If you bring in a team member, they know exactly where to find everything because it's highly intentional. And so kind of thinking about that 5-star service, that intentionality inside of your business, this is how you create an amazing experience, and not just for your clients, but for your team members.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes me think of what's that movie with Bradley Cooper, Burnt, I think it's called?
Yeah.
Love that movie. Yeah. Great movie. And there's such a maniacal focus on the Michelin star restaurants where everything has a place and everything is clean and it's not chaos. It's kind of almost like organized chaos, I guess, when they're cooking. But outside of that, it's very structured. And I guess that's kind of what you're bringing to the business. Because when a business gets off the ground, a startup gets off the ground, it's absolute chaos. And then you're kind of on the hamster wheel to keep going. And that Google Drive or those systems never get built. Yep. And you're sitting there like, why am I doing this repetitive task that takes me 4 hours every week? And you feel like you can't
let it go.
You can't, you're like, I have to do it because there's no time in the system it would take to build. It's going to take 8 hours, but I don't know.
I only have 30 minutes.
Yeah, it's a hard thing to do. So what do you help startup founders kind of, how do you get them to that aha moment that systems in the business can, set them free or increase growth or increase scalability? Like, what are some of those conversations like where they're like, finally it switches on?
Well, they say in the 70s it used to take about 7 to 10 times listening to a message before you take action.
Okay.
I think today it's a lot higher just because of the amount of noise and chaos that the marketing messages that we hear. And so I don't have one conversation with someone and they're like, I get it. It never goes like that. And it's, you can't really tell people like, hey, your CRM's a mess, or hey, your Google Drive's a mess. Like you can't like tell them how terribly disorganized.
Yeah, it's like an attack. It's like, whoa.
Because it's like my
it's
baby.
an affront to my skills.
Yeah.
even though the person knows their crap skills, there's like an ego side, and so you almost have to like pull it out of them, as in like, hey, what do you want to focus on, you Chris? Like, what do you want to fill your day? What do you want to spend your time? And when they start talking about all the things that they want to do, you then notice that they never say, I want to set up Zapier.
Yeah.
They never say, oh, I want to run the weekly project management backlog grooming session. They never want to do that.
Yeah.
And so after you kind of articulate all of their wants, all of their desires, what do they want to do? When you kind of say, hey, I noticed you didn't say this, this, and this, who's going to handle the follow-up on all the sales? Oh, I don't know. It's like, okay, well, have you considered bringing in a VA or, hiring a college student? You kind of present them with options where they have agency in the solution. Of course, I know the solution. The solution's obvious, but if you kind of like tell someone the solution, they don't hear it right away because it's like an assault on the skills.
You got to find your path to the solution,
right?
Like as you're having the conversation. So at what point in the journey of a founder are you like, you definitely need this type of change in experience that you're given to your team that you might have? And is it ever too early? Like we're a 2-person team and it's like, should we be trying to do this type of like rigid, well, I don't want to say rigid because it's not always rigid, but this type of work now, as opposed to maybe like when we're a team of 5 or 6 or 7? Like are there clear lines on those things respectively for you?
There's no right or wrong answer.
Yeah.
I think the fairly popular expression is the best time to invest in your retirement was 20 years ago.
Yeah.
The second best time is today, and that can apply to anything.
Okay.
I think with systems, you don't need HubSpot when you're a 2-person team.
Right.
You don't need Zapier when you're maybe Zapier, yes, but
Always Zapier.
Always Zapier.
Committed.
I actually churned Zapier. I don't use Zapier anymore. I'm on Relay now, but maybe later we'll get to that.
Yeah.
But I think no matter, like even on day one, I have a free course called The First System, and you align basically 3 things: your priorities, your people, and your activities. It's like, what am I focusing on? Who in my network is available that maybe is an expert on that focus, and the day-to-day activities. 1-person team, 2-person team, that's like personal mastery. That's like your to-do list and having your goals in place, your vision board, and your relationships in one place. Like, it's never too early to have that centralized.
Right.
Because when you have it all in one place, you could very quickly tag like, oh, my goal is to host a monthly baking workshop at a community center. Oh, Chris Daniels happens to be the general manager at the lab. Okay, now to actually do that, I have some work that I need to do, but I could hit up Chris.
Of course.
And so this is where you could really accelerate the manifestation of your priorities, whether it's baking workshops or closing a round of funding or finding your next great hire. Like, it's just important to have that all in one place.
Makes sense.
Yeah. And you, I would say, and we'll get into the community-centric entrepreneur, but I think every time I meet someone, somehow you come up and everyone knows you as the systems and Notion guy. Okay. And you've done an incredible job of the branding. Maybe it is the outfit with somehow you got it going on. Talk to me about Notion and the tools that you use. Like if you could just give boom, free tips of like what's on your recommended list if I was going to try to start systematizing my business.
Notion.
Okay, why?
Because you can do anything with it.
Like, give me some.
Like get your priorities, connect them to people or relationships in your world, your activities, which is task management. I also have my content calendar on there. I create templates for all of these things. So, for example, I have podcasts, I have YouTube videos, I have courses, I have short form videos. For those 4 assets that I have that I'm publishing every week. Yeah. I have templates. So every time I do, new short form video for Instagram, I click a button, my 7 activities pop up. So every single time, like I never have to think, my VA never has to ask me, how do I do this? Like the same activity or the same activities are there. I have a guide for like how to do each of these activities. And so I never have to explain myself. I don't know if that's a Notion thing or just like a management capability.
Yeah, but it makes sense.
Yeah.
Like in Notion, the functionality to have the templates and all that stuff is huge. Like the whole lab runs on Notion, and there's a lot of documentation, SOPs, and calendars and stuff like that, and it's all very customizable, which is great. So
Yeah.
Notion is like home base. Like
Notion's home base. I use Kit for my newsletters.
Okay.
I use Senja for my testimonials.
Okay.
I use Circle for communities.
Okay.
And I said Relay for my automation. And then there's one more that is escaping me. I think Tally Forms.
Yeah, I feel like you do love Tally Forms.
Why Tally Forms?
Because it's cheaper than Typeform and direct integration with
Got to
Notion.
get the cost right. Yeah.
Yeah, direct integration with Notion. And the founder of Tally Forms and Slack were just like directly connected and like
That's cool.
it's cool when you have a direct line to the people, to the people behind the brands. Zapier to get someone on.
Oh, wow.
Forget it. But like Notion, all these tools that I mentioned, like direct access to their team, and I mean that's for the average person. Maybe they don't have that, but for me, as someone who's helping people with these tools, it's
Very
important
effective.
to have that.
Yeah. And have you actually started using, because I know Notion now has like mail and calendar.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I just started like tipping my toes into just a bit. So I know that's like, some people's like, that's a huge unlock. And I'm like, I wonder why. Like, at least, exactly. Yeah.
So, do you have a notebook?
A notebook, like a physical notebook?
Yeah.
Or, yeah.
Do you use it for to-dos? Like
I
follow-ups?
do use it for to-dos. Follow-ups hardly happen through those physical notes. I always have to do like a calendar invite or something like that. Yeah.
Okay. So with Notion Calendar, you can now overlay your activities database. And if I have all these activities, all these to-dos, these tasks with dates on them, it could pop up on July 9th. It'll pop up at the top. But then the next question is, when are you actually going to do that activity?
Right.
And so if you look at July 9th, like, I just had a client session, and now I'm in a Reefside Radio, and I have a drive back home, but it's like, okay, what are the 15 minutes that I'm going to actually send this report or do whatever? You actually can slot in your activities, which isn't so indifferent from like Google Tasks.
Yep.
But when you have the whole Notion ecosystem together, if you're working on a team, now everyone can kind of see
See it
when
at the
people
same
are
time.
doing things.
Yeah.
So it's very effective for teamwork.
Nice.
Interesting. Well, now that Notion is an official sponsor of Reefside Radio, if you hear this,
At this point,
if you hear
yeah.
this, Notion, I do want to touch on, just because it's super relevant, tonight at the lab, we're hosting AI Agents for Operators, which was an event that we kind of ideated on and then just sent it on Luma. But we have 120 people coming tonight to talk about AI agents for operators. I'm not technical. I'm not a software engineer. So seeing what's going on with these agents like Relay and Lindy, and I tried N8N, and it's a lot. it's a lot, but it's very powerful. In your business, your line of work, your expertise, like, what do you think of AI agents? It's got to be a huge unlock around systems and things. What has you excited about it, and then what roadblocks have you run into?
It's really powerful, all the stuff that's out there. I think a lot of people are getting a little distracted with like, oh my God, agents and ChatGPT, and look at all this crazy shit I can create. But like, to what end? Like, they're getting lost in that instead of like actually looking at the process. So a very simple example. I have a podcast. I'm also a podcast guest on other people's shows. One of my agents is an agent that looks at my Google Calendar, and if it sees an event with the word recording in it, it will trigger, and then it will look up whoever the guest is. That's not me. and it will search them up on Listen Notes, and it'll provide a comprehensive brief of the last 5 episodes that person either interviewed or was a guest on.
Nice.
And so it will filter that through my own set of knowledge documents so that it can produce a brief for me when I come on the show. It's like, hey, these are some things that you can talk about that he hasn't spoken about in the last month. And so that's really cool.
Yeah.
People are like, oh, wow, that's awesome.
Yeah,
Nicely done.
But like, why did I do that? I did that because the typical process of podcast guesting is like, hey, VA, like, I want you to look up Dustin and look at his 7-Figure Leap podcast and then filter through like what would be good questions to ask for.
Right.
These people don't have the no one, you, if I was like telling you that, like, you don't have enough context for that.
Yeah.
But, I just saved 4 hours of time. I look at my process, and that's when you look at a process or what I call a recipe,
Yeah.
you can actually see, hey, in these steps of the process, you could actually unlock or use an AI, either just general automation or an AI assisted automation to really like vastly accelerate that. And so while 120 people are coming tonight, that's amazing. But how many of those people are actually like taking the time to like list out their processes?
Yeah. Yeah. Because it's very tempting to go into like Zapier's got the new beta on agents, or to go to Relay and be like, they have templates, and you're like, ooh, well, that looks nice and built. Let me do this. And
Let's
it's kind of like,
duplicate.
let's
duplicate. And then it's there, and it's like, wow,
template
like
and do it.
I'm ready to tap in, but like, how does it actually translate to your day to day?
Yeah. Yeah. Super interesting. So where do you think this AI agents for operators world goes? Do you think solopreneurs or kind of smaller company service-based businesses will be able to leverage them more? Or do you think it's going to be bigger companies? Like, where do you think the chips are going to fall, let's say, in the next 3 years?
I think everyone's going to take advantage of them. I think you're going to see more solopreneurs and small teams. I mean, Tallyforms is literally a 5-person team. They just hit 10 million ARR.
Nice.
It's a tiny team. I mean, teams are getting smaller.
I didn't know they grew that fast, honestly.
Well, it's been 8 years or
Of course, but
whatever.
it's been
I don't know if
overnight
it's 10 or if
success
it's
in
5,
8,
but like
yeah.
they've grown tremendously. And again, going back to like, and there are people like the Chris's of the world that are going to organize these AI events. And then like where I'm going to focus on is, hey, like, focus on writing your recipes. You got to focus on the fundamentals, because so everyone forgets the fundamentals, whether it's business systems or working out at the gym or meditation. Like, people are forgetting the fundamentals because they're getting lost in the sauce of either AI or the hottest trend of any sort of world. They're forgetting, hey, got to brush your teeth twice a day. You got to floss. Like, they're forgetting these fundamentals.
Yeah. I love that. Well, it seems like, one thing, and really kind of why we wanted to have you on the show, was this concept of community-centric entrepreneur, or community-centric entrepreneur. And it seems like the power of a community is not going away by agents or by ChatGPT or anything like that. There's still this, feels almost old school, but it's so foundational to what we're doing here at the lab, what we're doing with Reefside. Your business, it seems like it's been foundational as well. You've been involved in a lot of different communities, business communities, social communities, stuff like that. And then maybe these agents can help accelerate or just make it easier for an operator or someone leading a community to give more value. Yeah. But I want to hear your take on the intersection of business and community and how those two things have played out in your life, because you've been a really active member of the Miami tech community, of the wellness community here, of all sorts of things, and it seems like it's been really fruitful for you.
It's been fun. Yeah, it's been fun. I've learned a lot in my experience. I'll keep going back to it. Like, I really view all businesses like restaurants. I think the owner of the business is kind of like the general manager or the maitre d', kind of touching the tables, making sure every guest is having a good experience. The servers are like the salespeople. The chefs in the back of the house are kind of like the engineers. They're cooking up product and dishing it out. The salespeople are kind of bringing it out, kind of upselling you. It's your account management functions. And so I'll always kind of see this parallel between any business and a restaurant. When it comes to community is like a new, it's not, the last 5 to 8 years, community has been like this new way of operating. And I think it's not easy to launch a community. It's not easy. Like not everyone is a Pat Flynn or an Ali Abdaal, millions of followers. Like it's not easy to just do that. But if it starts with the intention, like, hey, I want to have a space where people can come, but it doesn't end there. It's not like, oh, we have the lab. People can come and do events here. It's like, what do people do when they get here? Do they like look at the books? Is there a scavenger hunt? Like, are there 30 things that people should do? Like when they do the 5th thing, does the secret door open up and you like pop into the door? Do you get an invite into the podcast studio once you've been here 40 times? I mean, it's like this game that you get to play, get to design for people. Because that's what makes it memorable. I mean, there's just so much. It's not a Miami problem. I mean, people say like, oh, Miami's flaky. No, like everyone's distracted everywhere. Miami, New York, Chicago, Atlanta. Everyone has way too many things. They're subscribed to way too many newsletters. There's just too much going on. And so when people like try to build a community and they don't get the engagement that they're looking for, it's like, hey, put yourself back in the member's shoes and ask, how many newsletters are they on? How many people are trying to market to them? It's okay. It's going to take longer than you think. And that's building a community. That's a YouTube channel. It's any of these endeavors. It's going to take 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 times as long as you think it's going to take.
What's the shift in community to you, though? So you were saying like kind of last 5, 8 years, maybe community has taken a more systematic or business-like approach, maybe. But we've had community since the dawn of existence, right?
Yeah.
And so how do you frame that shift, right? That we either as business or startups or just ecosystem builders, which has been a more normalized term over the last decade as well. What is the shift in your mind that made that more of a thing? Is it the value add that those communities can now perceivably give, or what do you think?
I think ecosystem community is synonyms.
Yeah.
I think calling it community has made it a lot more approachable.
Okay.
I think you see a lot of like creators or, creator, solopreneur, synonyms.
Same thing.
So in essence, it's probably just like a rebranding. We have had gatherings since the dawn of time. I think now, as people have kind of seen these new ways of like collaborating, like podcast guests, like that's collaborating. I mean, it's just a new way of.
So we're talking about marketing?
It's a really good question. I mean, it is marketing in a sense.
You see that with like the big software companies that are acquiring communities.
Exactly.
I mean, in a way, like
the hustle.
Emerge and Miami AI Hub. Really interesting too.
Was that?
Well, HubSpot bought the hustle.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And like Sales Hacker, a big sales CRM company bought Sales Hacker for a lot of money.
Yeah.
I think like $40 or $50 million. Bought this community that was a forum and events and stuff like that. And I think it's interesting how traditional marketing ads, like, yes, it has a place, but when you can create the club or the community that people want to be a part of, and it makes you have to serve them versus like the transactional relationship of just like marketing or sales, where it's like, we really want you to do well, and so we have to level up our service, our hospitality to serve this clientele, and it's less transactional.
Another thing that came up, I think it really exploded in COVID.
Yeah.
Everyone was on lockdown, and so then a bunch of like online communities spurred up, and so that's where probably like really like online community really got big. Circle, I think, has been around since 2018, 2019, and so they were kind of right there.
Right at the time.
Obviously now 2023, 24, like more in-person events have been happening, and so they've been kind of reframing how to use digital communities for in-person events.
Right.
So it's been cool to see some people how they kind of do that. And the last thing I would say, there's lots of different business models. There's like SaaS, Notion is a SaaS. Notion has a circle community.
Yep.
They have different types of stakeholders in their community. Like they have template creators, and they have like college ambassadors, and they have normal ambassadors. They have consultants. There's different stakeholders in their ecosystem, and so a community is a place where you can kind of put everyone in one place, and it's not a newsletter. Like, you have your newsletter now coming out.
It's just a part of it, like that's just one piece of this thing.
A newsletter is just like a communication vehicle that broadcasts something. Yeah. And then there's a CTA at the bottom. Like, there's a lot of events in the lab newsletter. It's like, oh, come to this event, and then you send them to Luma. So imagine taking your newsletter and Luma and a course and discussion boards and a chat room, and you put it all in one place.
Yeah.
Now it feels a little bit more, maybe chaotic, but definitely more connected.
When you're doing that, it sounded chaotic. but I can understand.
It's like kind of creating like a town in a sense, right? You need a newspaper. You need a school. Maybe that's, courses or some type of educational content. You need
the square.
Yep, exactly. You need ways for people to communicate with each other. So I think that's interesting. So let's talk about the community that you are now leading, which is Local Leaders Collective. This is a group that I've been a part of for 3 years. I love it. It's been amazing. But you are now driving the ship forward and making some big changes on an organization that's been around for a while and started by some amazing leaders here in Miami, and now it's kind of going through a phase 2. So tell us first maybe what is Local Leaders Collective, or LLC as a lot of people call it, and how did you get involved?
Yeah, so entrepreneurship is lonely. It's hard to build a company alone. And so I believe LLC was launched with the premise of creating a support group of peer advisors to help you on this journey. LLC was, I think, started in 2018, and they basically organize what's called a forum. And a forum is a group of 5 to 8 people who come together. They're similar stage of companies. Everyone has their own ways of like self-organizing. It's a concept that was taken from Entrepreneur's organization or the Young Presidents organization, which are much more advanced companies. Yeah. LLC was started because they wanted to bring that forum to the everyman, to the every person. And so it started here in Miami. At one point, I think there were 80 people in LLC. The number has dropped in recent years to about 30 people. So when I joined last year, because you nagged me about it enough, I knew about LLC, but I just never, took the leap. And
Chris is persistent.
Chris is persistent. You got to be persistent.
Got to be persistent.
And when around the same time that I came in, there was also an opportunity to kind of become a leader of the community, the general manager of the community. And as I stepped into that role, I kind of painted a new vision, a new direction of what LLC could be. And the founders saw alignment in that. And so we've kind of started this evolution where I'm now kind of leading all LLC Miami activities. And I have
congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. And it's this shift from before everyone was very focused on the forum. It was like, I joined LLC because my forum. It's like these are my blood brothers and sisters. We do the triple blood pact, and we're like in it, and that's cool. Like there's nothing wrong with that. That's amazing. Yeah. But another thing that Chris kept hounding me about was that I don't know anyone else in LLC.
Yeah, like our crew, love them. We're going on a retreat in 2 weeks. Like it's awesome. I look forward to it. Every month it's been super valuable, but I don't really know. It's just like a secret society where I only know 8 of the members.
like separate cabals.
Yeah, but I'm like, I know there's other people here.
And it's like, we tried to host events, but no one would show up. But like the events were like all sporadically spread all throughout. Morning, night, this, that. Okay. And so I said, you know what? I'm going to come in and I'm going to design a space where people are committing to the collective. Like, hey, it's not about your forum is great, but like you're committing to the collective and you are going to contribute to the collective. You are going to participate in the breakfast. You are going to participate in the quarterly workshop. Like, I'm not going to, everyone's like, I want an outside speaker. It's like, you don't need an outside speaker. We have a guy in our group right now who he literally teaches business owners how to create whole life insurance policies with pre-tax dollars that you could take as a deduction in your business. And that's a mouthful the first time I heard it. But like, phenomenal. If you can teach a business owner how to save 30 grand in taxes and put it towards a policy instead of the government, holy shit. You don't need some Citibank VP to come in and teach you. No, like, we have the talent in the group. Like, there are so many talented leaders. And so I said, what if we now showcase and cross-pollinate more effectively? And that's how people are going to realize the value of the collective.
So you said something really impactful. This idea of the collective and having people have a shared vision of that is something that we talk about a lot in Miami more broadly, right? And you have a microcosm of it where how do you even have a conversation about a collective when people have different ideas about what, because everybody always like, what's the goal? what's the whole ultimate outcome, right? You guys are obviously all leaders in the respective collective, but what's that?
What is the goal?
Yeah, well, I don't want to say what is the goal.
How do you have the conversation?
But how do you have the conversation to have the goal? Because the goal could be this amorphous thing, and we all agree that it is, and we're fine with that, right? But how do you even have the conversation about the goal?
I don't like amorphous things. And I've worked with Chris, I mean, as friends professionally, like, it's like, okay, what's the priority? What's the action? You're gonna, it's very specific. There's a SMART goal. And so for now, LLC, my like vision is collective of 150 members, monthly breakfast, quarterly workshop.
Okay.
That's the goal.
Okay.
You want in? Here it is. And it's not just the goal.
It's like a menu, like you talked about.
It's not just like the vision. It's literally how we operate. And there's a management theory called self-management where huge companies are running off of self-management instead of the traditional command and control CEO, like pyramid, hierarchical system. In a self-managing system, everyone is flat. There's a constitution. And the organization runs based on the Constitution. And just like you said, it can change. The Constitution can change, but it can change based on the collective agreement of tensions and reasons for it to change.
Gotcha.
And so if you say, hey, Chris, like, here's our goal, here's how we plan to get there, do you want in? Yes or no?
Right.
Detach yourself from a timeline on when you will get there. But this is what I'm committed to. You want it or no?
Yeah.
In or out?
It's interesting. I think you mentioned something around too, like in these collective organizations or companies that a lot of the previously private or secretive stuff like finances or salaries or stuff like that is just like all out in the open and it's all visible, which is kind of different from, how, I don't know, big company runs.
It's different. It is very different. It invites a lot of questions. I think with LLC in particular, I do plan on like having a very open, transparent company where everyone will see where all money goes to. A lot of feedback was like, oh, we don't know where our investment is going to. And it's like, all right, well, here's where the investment is going to. Oh, well, I have a problem that, Ernesto's taking a salary. It's like, well, Ernesto is putting in some time into this. And so it just gives people literally all the chips where if you don't want to be a part of it, it's fine. But
like the value of being in it is
there. It's front and center so people can make informed decisions about what they want to do within the organization. Yeah, that makes sense.
Right. And another thing about, I think, building a company in general, startups, you definitely see this in startups where like an investor will give you 6 months runway. And it's like, well, if you don't make it happen in 6 months, it's really difficult to like put a timeline on when things should happen because we have no fucking clue. We have no clue. We have no control. And so when you're already kind of setting your, like designing your mind to operate in that context, it could work. Most of the times it hasn't.
That's where communities and businesses separate a bit, right? So in a business setup for a startup, you might want to put it under a pressure cooker because you want a certain level of growth for a particular reason. Like you want your investment to take off. But for a community, does it make sense to put that under a pressure cooker? Maybe, maybe not. And so, yeah, to your point, it loses its value in that context a bit. Maybe it works sometimes, but there's a high likelihood it couldn't work. You know,
I think there's also like a hamster wheel of community building, and there's a lot of awesome community partners here at the lab, and I think sometimes there's a hamster wheel to always like one up your last thing.
Yeah.
And
so
bring
you got
something
100
different.
people, let's get 200 people now. Let's get 300 people now.
Sometimes chasing those metrics can dilute the core premise if it's meant to be for a specific niche audience, and then you're focused on growing number of people there that aren't really in there. It starts to kind of deviate.
Well, just that example, what I see in companies every day or in a restaurant, it's like, oh, here's the daily special. And so a few months ago, we had the Israel Tech Week event here, and there was 2,000 people here. And so maybe a month later, there was the next hackathon event. It's like, oh, well, we had 2,000 at Israel Tech Week. Like, why aren't we getting 2,100 at this new hack? It's like, it's a totally different item. But people are like, oh, but I should be better.
That anchor,
And they're actually changing up their offer so many times. And so they like think they should be improving, but they're not improving, and then they get down on themselves, and then it's like this whole mind fuck of, again, being a founder and trying too many things, and it's like, hey, you perfect this one thing. So that's why with the LLC example, it's like monthly breakfast, quarterly workshop, going to 150 members, and like clear. You just stay on that path, you'll get there eventually.
Yeah, I think having those things always take longer than you think. I don't know. We've worked with a ton of startups, and it's like, even if you're right and on the right path, it just takes longer, and it's okay. It's just everyone's ambitious in their mind of what's going to happen in a week, in a month, and in 3 months.
In 6 months, we're going to, it was like all the time.
And hopefully the investor realizes that. I mean, I think investors also like consciously give you less than what you think you need. So they're testing you. How much progress can you make in these 6 months? And like when they see you've made progress, maybe not the numbers that you said, okay, here's a little more. Like keep going.
Yeah.
I got a question on that. Let's make a left-hand turn here. You've been kind of a solopreneur and consultant and in the service business mainly, and you don't have investors that I know of. Or a formal board that's meeting with every quarter. What are the challenges there of staying focused without some of those maybe outside pressures of you have 6 months runway, otherwise the jig is up? Like, have there been times where it got really close, or you had a personal runway, or I don't know. What's that like? It's a little bit different than startup things. In some ways it is, because a lot of startups start that way. If there's this amount of savings and I got to make something happen or fundraise before then. But what's that been like for you?
My wife is the chairman.
Yeah.
Yes.
Actually, my wife is amazing. She doesn't bring she brings intensity, not the same intensity like a chairman or a board would.
Yeah.
The investors are like looking at the numbers and they're challenging you on. And so when you don't have that, you don't have accountability. And so the challenge is that you can flail around. And I mean, I'm now in my 5th year of business. If I did have a structured board, maybe it wouldn't have taken me as long as it's taken me to get to where I am. But then whatever, I accept my journey and it's all good. But all that aside, I mean, I think it's very important to have some sort of accountability. They don't need to be a board. It could be a consultant, a service provider. It could be your CFO. It could be a bookkeeper that's just producing reconciled financials at the end of the month, just so it's like, hey, this is a third-party opinion on what's happening in your business. But if you don't have any of that, if you're operating in a silo on your own without anything, then I don't know. It's
easy to get taken down a rabbit hole of like, I'm gonna do this initiative, and you kind of are almost like procrastinating in a way of like the main thing of like build, sell, and get the business going.
Yeah, I mean, I have a client right now. He's like, "Oh, I just built out all this stuff in Airtable." I'm like, "Why did you build it out in Airtable? Airtable's fine, no problem. but this person's a creative. Like he's a video person. Like he's a brilliant video person, and he like spends hours building things in Airtable. I'm like, why are you doing that? Like literally, I'm a person who can build things for you, and it's not like a shameless plug, but like find people that you can like build things with. Because going back to the beginning of our episode, when I looked at the founder, and I'm like, what do you want to work on? And like when Chris Daniels even tells me like, oh, I went down the N8N hole. I was like, why? Chris Daniels is not technical. And you learn through this stuff. You learn through these, you know, side quests. But if you do truly go through that exercise, and it's like, what are the 5 to 7 things you want to focus on exclusively? You'll see the 70 things that you don't want to do, and hopefully either you bring a board or you bring this person. You start surrounding yourself with people that can surround you. And the best, fastest way to find those people is in a community.
Yeah. That makes me think of LLC. Like I mentioned, I've been in it for a couple of years, and it's like, that is such an accountability measure, because the form process, I'm going to get you to sign up too.
We'll get you in
It's
there.
on the way. I know this is a secret, just like coming together to like really induct me in.
This is why we actually
This
get
is
the
actually why the podcast
so
came
you can
together,
hear,
so I can hear all the good things. I know. It's only a matter of time.
But it is. The forum process is very structured. It's a 4-hour meeting that's very structured and on time, just like that restaurant analogy you were giving. And you have to kind of present, you know, your month update on what's been going on, and you know these people, and there's kind of a record of what you said last time. And if you're like, oh, I'm going to now become an N8N consultant, it's like, whoa. What happened to what we talked about last time in the 6 months before this on this big goal? So that accountability is really, I don't know, it's hard to find. If you don't have a co-founder, it's hard to find. Even with a co-founder, it's hard because there's a relationship there, and
there's a bias. There's actually a bias there.
Yeah, very true. And so the LLC experience is very objective to the other parts of your life, whether professional, personal, or business. I think that's why it works. I think that's magic. I don't know. What do you think?
I definitely agree. I think another like differentiator, you want to look at your collaborators, not competitors, because you want to see like what are they doing and like what's different. How do you distinguish from them? And so when we look at EO and YPO, and now there's Founders Club and there's Hampton, and there's so many of these like clubs and groups. Some of the feedback we've gotten is like, oh, they're like very like business and like business oriented, and it's like we're a $10 million company is taking a 15, and so they're very ambitious.
Yeah.
And this word that has been coming up in LLC a lot is, oh, people are authentic. And it's like, what the hell is authentic anyways? And so I kind of said this at our breakfast like 2 times ago. It's like, we're ambitiously authentic. Like, we're just so authentic about who we are. If that means I'm going to come, like I literally have the breakfast tomorrow, and Chris blasted out the email today about like, there's a meditation happening. Like, all right, am I gonna do another meditation like you hear on Google? It's like, now close your eyes and breathe. Or am I gonna be like so authentic about who I am and tailor the meditation to like being in a restaurant and saying, you know, putting in curse words like a chef would use, and like how do you like really bring yourself to your day to day? Because when people can truly self-express, in whatever context, that's where you really elevate creativity and your feeling of fulfillment.
I had a friend tell me that eating is meditation. So
I like that.
Anything that brings you in the moment, if you have good food, that's a form of meditation. So there's a couple of different ways to do it.
You just gave me an idea. Maybe we'll like pass around the fruit tray tomorrow. You pick your fruit and
have a moment. It's meditation can
really
be done in a lot of different
what
ways.
That strawberry tastes like.
Exactly.
If
it's a good one. Like my wife has recently got me on cotton candy grapes.
Oh,
yeah. I love how they taste. I mean, they're super sweet. So how could you not love how they taste? But I'm in that moment when I'm eating one. I'm like, this is what I like. This is all that exists right now. There's nothing else. There are no other things. So
you just leveled up tomorrow's breakfast. Thank you. I don't know about the cotton candy grapes, but definitely a fruit. The fruit.
A fruit, yes. It's a visceral experience.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I really just appreciate all the events. I mean, you've done a bunch of events and office hours and workshops here to support what we're doing with the lab and with Reefside and our different programs, and it's been amazing. And you always find a way to have a unique twist that makes the concept stick with people. It kind of jumps off the screen or off the podium or off the experience. And I know you have your hollow baking class coming up, right?
Yeah.
What's that all about?
Yeah. So I started baking bread. So the way I got out of Deloitte and into the restaurant world, my get out of jail card, was challah bread. Challah bread is like a Jewish brioche bread. It's really good on French toast. And so I went to cooking.
Please don't tell me you made it the first time perfectly. Did you?
Oh, no.
Okay.
Oh, no.
I was like, are you one of those people that is like,
no, hell
yes.
no. It was a lifeless lump of plop. Like it was not pretty. It was not pretty. It's like the conclusion of my book, actually. Like in the conclusion of my book, I write, I baked challah first time 10 years ago. The first try was like a lifeless lump of dough. And the point being, when you start your anything, it's always terrible.
Yeah.
But you keep iterating and perfecting, and it becomes this amazing, delicious, vegan, golden brown experience that like no one is able to replicate. And so
Beautiful.
I've been baking these breads for years. And when I started Entrepreneurship, I showed up to my first community event and I was like, hey guys, I'm so lost. Here's some bread. And people were like, wow, this is amazing. And my friend Julian has been telling me, when are you going to make, when are you going to open a bakery? I'm never going to open up a bakery. But what if you could like take what it means and change the context? So now every month we're going to have the Recipe for Growth, which is a hands-on baking workshop where you will learn how to grow your business. And I'll be teaching people my recipe, my challah bread recipe, inside of the story of why it's important to grow your business with recipes. You are writing literally your recipe for growth. So we'll have that on every, I think, last Thursday of the month.
Nice.
Coming up.
Man.
First one coming up.
Yeah. I'm excited for it.
Yeah.
Oh,
We'll see. I see a day where we'll have that whole back room, 180 people here baking challah bread.
I'm excited. I've never done it. I'm pumped. So we have a hot take question here on Reefside Radio. Besides an interactive baking and business workshop, what do you feel is needed in Miami for its next stage of growth or to fortify its existing stage? It can be a type of person, a company, a brand, a leader, a this, a that, whatever it is. What do you feel is one area, almost as a call to action to someone listening that is, wants to get involved or has a specific skill set? Like, what area do you think needs to go from a 3 to a 10 or be improved?
Miami needs two things. The first one is $1 million machine powering the city of Miami. Just kidding.
I was like, okay. I'm interested. Tell me more, please.
Miami needs commitment. Miami needs commitment. I mean, I think all the three of us have been involved in organizations that like didn't last for whatever reasons, whether it's our reasons or external reasons.
Yeah.
I think people like start things and then 6 months later they fizzle out, or it's the startup story. Like, that's startups.
Yeah.
But that's such bullshit. Like, commit to something. I mean, I just said LLC, 150 members through this and this. Commit and just fucking do it. And literally put all your energy and attention on that thing. Say, I'll do it for 2 years. But a 6-month experiment isn't worthwhile.
Yeah, we were just talking about how community takes time and things take a lot longer. Yeah.
Commit for 3 years to something.
Yeah.
And ensure that you have the resources for 3 years to do something. Like, yeah, we've all been in projects that didn't last past 1 year. I mean, I was in a project, I like put a shit ton of work into it, and I was made commitments that were never satisfied. And it's like, that loses the integrity. And so when that happens over and over in these micro breaches of integrity, you don't even want to participate anymore.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, because you've talked about, just in conversations in your work about integrity, right? Doing what you say you're going to do. normally, in a workshop that you do, it's in the context of, the CEO or someone on the team, being that leader and having integrity. I've never thought about it from a ecosystem perspective.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah.
Makes a lot of sense, actually.
It's you really put it well. These micro breaches is death by 1,000 cuts, right?
That's exactly it.
Yep. Yeah. And it's ecosystem wide. It really starts to create little fissures where in every conversation that you have, somebody either hesitates a little bit more now or refuses to do something because they just got burned like in the last 6 months, or somebody takes more trips out of the city because they're getting more work other places because of other things. It's these small little things that add up over time where it just makes it substantially harder for an ecosystem to grow in the way that it should. And because all we talk about all day is potential, right? It's like we talk about it day and night. It's like there's so much potential. We're almost there. We're gonna get there, and it's like
And the commitment also, it's like don't commit to results, commit to actions. Like I'm committing to 12 monthly breakfasts for the next year, right? And 4 quarterly workshops. Will it be at 150 members? I don't know. That is the overall vision, but like
that's an outcome.
I'm committing to the activity. The outcome will take care of itself.
Okay, amazing.
Right.
So get committed. Miami ecosystem, get committed. Pick a lane, pick something, and stick with it. I love that. You said there were 2 things. What's the second one?
Oh, the $1 million machine powering the city of Miami. I do know that anyone at the city listening, I think the innovation director uses Notion, or he came to one of our Notion in Miami's gatherings, and I'm like, all right, let's figure it out here.
Let's do it.
But it's all right. We'll get there one day.
And the next thing you know, there'll be relay AI agents running the government, running everything. There we go.
That'll be wild.
what would the $1 million machine do
For the city of Miami?
Yeah.
I have no idea how many meetings people sit in on. But we'll basically eliminate those meetings, because what we do is we teach people how to communicate using tools. We teach people communicate through project management updates, communicate through Slack instead of sitting here for an hour to talk about our kid's birthday and then maybe a little bit about the project. You can communicate all that with a 5-minute Loom video.
Yeah. It's true.
So it's new digital disciplines that really change the way how you work.
Yeah.
I'm not Elon Musk. We're not starting the Department of Data Efficiency. But like, there's a lot of efficiency to realize.
I agree. There's always this conversation around, what drives this? The conversation around what government's goal should be, right? And you were just speaking about how important it is to kind of articulate what those things are particularly. And for a government, depending on who you ask, they're completely different things that are all over the place. And because that ends up being the case, whether efficiency starts to become a priority is a completely different question, right? And when you ask certain people, they're like, of course, we want this to be the most efficient thing of all time. Like, we want that. And other people are like, well, not that we don't want efficiency. Maybe we want what we believe to be more effectiveness. And effectiveness takes away from what efficiency could be. And whether those 2 things are separate from one another is depending upon who you ask. Which, should it be a debate? Probably not. Is it a debate? 100%. Right. It's an interesting point, but I do agree with you though. It's I do wonder how digital transformation is going to affect government over time and how quickly that will take up, because as a wider society, we're taking it up pretty fast. And within the next couple of years, we're all going to have very advanced versions of the technology that we use right now. How quickly government, let alone, businesses will be fast followers, I believe, but governments, they don't necessarily have to.
Right.
There's nothing that's stopping them from their bottom line, which is tax dollars. So, it's an interesting question. It's a very, very interesting question.
Part two.
Ernesto, thank you for coming on Reefside Radio. Where can people find you?
MDM_Ernesto. Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn.
Amazing. And we'll make sure to circulate the bakery, the business. What is it called? Business?
The Recipe for Growth.
Growth.
See, you just put it out in the Eagles, the atmosphere. He needs a bakery.
I think
I kind of, if you do all this baking, man.
So our online, when you become a client of MDM, the community is called The Kitchen.
Oh, okay.
So when Chris has been in my ear over these years about the Founder Clubhouse, like I will one day have a space called The Kitchen.
Nice. We can find you a spot.
Nice.
We'll figure
Here,
it out.
the dog, we can find you a spot for a bakery. Awesome. Ernesto, thanks so much for coming on the show. That's it. That's the pod.
Thanks, man.